Well, it is a beautiful, beautiful day here today, and I haven't done this type of video in a while, but it just dawned upon me today to do this. Uh, I am truly, truly, truly grateful that I get to see a lot of followers from all over the world, especially Nigeria. I am a first generation Nigerian. I was just born in England, and I'm just so grateful. Yes, I wear my beads with pride because that's my Yoruba heritage. But there is one thing that I see a lot. I see the relationship with Africans and Africans that were born here, shall I say. I don't want to use the word African American, but Africans that were born here. I'm talking about black people that's been here for over goodness know how many years. I see the relationships. I've been thinking about bridging the gap. I realize how we look down upon black people. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá, mo kí yín ní èní. Mo fẹ́ kí ẹ mọ̀ pé àwọn ará Gẹ̀ẹ́sì tí wọ́n dàbí èmi àti ẹ̀yin tán wà nílùú yìí, gbogbo ohun tí wọ́n ń sọ nípa wọn kò ń ṣe òtítọ́. What I actually just said is that anything, especially for Nigerians, anything, Africans, period, anything that you've heard about black people over here, whatever it isn't true. Yes. It is funny because of this type of situation. I'm a first generation Nigerian. I don't even have Nigerian friends because the first time I heard about my Black American culture was by my grandmother. I went from England to a tiny village in Nigeria called Ifo. My father, and my mother is Jebubo, where Obafemi Awolowo was from. My grandmother was very adamant about culture. I remember she never forced anything upon us, but we go to church. And at the same time, I never missed any traditional beliefs, traditional ceremony while I was there. I stayed there for a couple of years, maybe like 6 or 7 years, but I never missed the tradition. They never forced it upon us. I remember every April or so, we used to go to Abeokuta. And I used to be among the Agemo people. We do the Akogun. I think my great-grandparents were Oniwara at the Elefumeji. And I'm saying this because for my brothers who are very more fluent in Yoruba more than me, you can actually translate what this thing means. And I remember before the Akogun comes out, my aunties and relatives, a lot of them, they would just sing like there's no tomorrow for hours and hours. All those things is here in the United States among black people. I remember the first time I went into a black church. It blew me the mother biscuit away just to see the songs. My grandmother used to tell me about the ignorance that happened, I want to call it. And I never used to believe it because I I was actually coming from England, and I thought everything was London. That's all I know. You know what I mean? As you can see, I can talk this. I can actually speak proper English. Even more than my own dialects. Something that, as years go by and I get older, I would say I regret. I wish I could speak more Yoruba fluently. For anybody that speaks Yoruba properly, you can tell I'm speaking in a slangs manner, because Yoruba is full of the word idiom. Yoruba dabi odu. So when my grandmother began to tell me about some of my uncles that was taken away, some that were disappearing on Wunifa, yes, that's why we have this movie called The Invisible Man, because some of my uncles, when they were grabbed by the Europeans, they disappeared. These are the history that they won't teach you, but yes, when they disappeared, and my grandmother was so adamant about it, I never knew where America was. I just decided to leave England after getting into so much trouble. I had every opportunity in England to play professional soccer, which we call football. I had everything. But I was just so wild because I wanted to be English so bad. I didn't want to be an African. But when I moved to this country and I saw black people, they looked like somebody in my village. Enu ya mi ni. Ẹ̀yin Yorùbá, mo wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ka ìwé. What I just said, I began to read. I studied my African American culture so deep. I had to re-educate myself. I read the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, the Bhagavad Gita. I studied all of it. I wanted to see the Yoruba in me. I began to be a Yoruba man in my late 20s. I went through that colonization era to where I just... when I was growing up, the few years I spent in Nigeria, when we get an F in English, you get beat up. But when you get an A in English, people hug you. When you get an F in Yoruba, people congratulate you. And that type of mindset, what it did for some of us who became a scholar, we became rebellious. That rebellious sometimes can take years to get over because you begin to read all these books. I didn't understand when I see a Nigerian or any African, period, talking about African American. It made me shy away. And I've noticed that it is very common among the people that goes into a synagogue. I'm not going to use that word. You could figure out what I mean when I say synagogue. And I realized that the clashing of the heads was in the synagogue in Nigeria, where I'm from, and in the synagogue here. I have to say to my traditional people that I've seen my sisters and brothers here as one. Mo fẹ́ sọ pé mo yìn yín. Kì í ṣe pé mi ò fẹ́ bá yín sọ̀rọ̀. Ìgbà tí wọ́n kọ́ àwa ní Ifá, when they taught us Ifá, we don't go to nobody. Ifá, people come to us. I am... I have an Oriki. Yeah, money Oriki. Aroku. Ọmọ Ṣílẹ̀. Alowo Fari. Ọmọ Fosilulu. I tell you, I remember when my grandmother used to say those things, even though I did not understand what she was saying in Yoruba those days, I can relate to it. And I've been thinking about bridging the gap. But when I married an American woman when I got here, it was the same issue. And it is because of this colonial culture that we practice, the synagogue people. But I wanted to say, always remember, tí ẹ bá rí àwọn tí ó wá láti ìlú yìí, gbogbo ohun tí wọ́n sọ nípa wọn kò ń ṣe òtítọ́. With that, I'll say peace and yes, one love. Ọmọ Yorùbá lèmi o. Àṣẹ, àṣẹ, àṣẹ. Ó dàbọ̀ nìyẹn. Peace.